Hey, it's Seagrove, and today we're here with some very patient, very good gentlemen. If you guys want to go ahead in that same order, introduce yourselves, and we will get started talking about the meta forecast for Hartford and then Daytona and then Hartford. Go ahead, Chris. Defer.
Christopher Szymanski, six prizes. Yeah. No.
Hey, I'm Frank from New Jersey.
Bradley Curcio.
Azul Garcia Griego. Yep.
Cool. Christopher, you're back low in your box. Would you sit back up or? Yeah, right there. Thank you.
It's hard the way this is.
Sorry about that.
This place is not made for tall people.
The world is not made for tall people. So, we just are coming off of Fort Wayne, and you all were there, and I wanted you each to go around and say the deck you played, and then how you think it's going to be for Daytona, and then after that we'll talk about general ramifications of the tournament.
Same order, I guess?
Yep, same order is good.
So I played Espion Garbodor. Went 6-2-1, 64. Lost one round to double Confusion Tail, or heads at my opponent's part in games 2 and 3. So I think the deck's, I don't know, it's very bland. It's very standard, which is standard for a deck that was a standard deck with 3 or 4 expanded cards. It could be good moving on, especially if Dark is still as good as it was, or as played as it was, I should say, at least. Could be good, but I think there's much better Garbodor decks out there, like what the 2 you played. So
it's good against Darkrai.
I mean, I went 5-1 and 11-2 in individual games against it, so sure, I think it's fine.
Sounds good. All right, Frank.
Yeah, so I went 5-2-2. It's a little bit of a rough day. I think that put me in like 130 something place, so I did get some points out of it. I played Trevenant. It was a pretty good deck. I still think it'd be an okay play at Daytona.
Okay. Brad?
Yes. So I played, I guess, like Drampa and Kromza Tool Drop Garbodor. I think the deck was really good. I made it into day 2. I started off 6-0, then lost 2, and then won the last one to make it into day 2 at 7-2. Day 2 was not very good. I won the game and then ended up the last round IDing to make sure I wasn't the person getting 33rd. So
there was a lot of that.
I was thinking about that. You just have to ID to not get 33rd.
And I ID'd with Grant Manley the last round just to make sure neither of us got 33rd, and it worked. But since we were in that position, day 2 didn't go that well. I had some pretty unfortunate draws. I whiffed some very important things on specific turns to like turn wins into ties, things like that too. So I think going forward, the deck is still very, very good. Maybe changing a couple of cards, but I think it's still posed pretty well in the meta.
Okay.
Yeah. I also played, I call it Necrozma Garbodor. I went 6-2-1, top 64. Started 5-0, and then I played against Brad. And then I hit a couple rough matchups from there, so it wasn't working out for me after I lost to Brad. I think the deck is still very good. Like, I think it's close to like best deck in format, I actually think. I think the lists that we played need to be polished a bit, and then the other lists that I saw there I thought they were worse than our lists, actually. Yeah. They were like more junk that was just unnecessary from the other Necrozma Garbs I saw, even the ones that actually made day 2. Like ours was a little bit more refined, but definitely could have been more refined. And yeah, I think it'll still be a very strong play going into Daytona.
We were still refining it in the line while turning in our lists. We would walk to the front of the line, still be writing parts out, and then walk to the back of the line so we could keep going. Yeah, awesome. We went to the back of the line a few times trying to decide like last card choices. And
Cool. So we have a more established expanded meta after this tournament. We saw Night March. I mean, we already knew Night March was good. We knew Trev was good. And I do like the Garbodor decks that came in. But we also saw Gardevoir. So just from the top 8, which decks do you all like?
Night March is good, obviously. Chris Siakala's deck was pretty good. Probably one of the best, if not the best way to run Darkrai, like always.
It was just like consistency, right?
Yeah. Straight Golisopod's interesting, but it's always going to lose to Volcanion. There's pretty decent matchups otherwise, I guess. Okay. And then Sam / Raul's deck. Also interesting, but I don't think they reliably beat Garbodor like they think they do. So, well, Necrom's a Garb at least.
I mean, I beat Rahul too, so I'm going to throw Espeon into him.
But I don't know if you played Necroms or not, but...
No, I didn't know.
Okay. Yeah, I don't think their matchup against Garb is as good as they think it is. I think Sam may have just beat them because he's Sam, but yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I like the Turtonator deck. I don't think it has the best Garb matchups. I think Turbodark's still really good. I think the Straight Golisopod deck will never win a tournament. I think you could get top 8. I don't think it'll ever win a regionals. That's that big. Like something like Turtonator, I think Turbodark beats it. I think the Fire decks beat it. So it'll never win, but it's like super consistent, super straightforward, and has like some really good matchups where it's just like dumpster stuff. Like it beats most of the Garb decks. Anything that can't one-shot it pretty much beats. Like, so yeah. And then Turtonator's good.
Gyarados have expanded.
Yeah, it's like the Gyarados. Yeah, you can tell the Gyarados have expanded. And then I like Turtonator. I like Turbodark. Night March will like always be good unless like people get really oppressive with Oricorio. But yeah.
Mm-hmm. What's the better Night March? Sorry, I want to hear what Frank and Christopher have to say about that. Do you guys have any thoughts on top 8 decks?
I haven't looked at all of them. I looked at Israel's Dark List. It was similar through a lot of last year, so it looked like how that list would look if you update it for the new set. Darkrai GX is real good. So.
Okay.
And I mean, I like Night March. I mean, sure, it'll always be somewhat good. The Turtonator thing's interesting. The best way to run Dark, as noted. I don't think we saw a single expanded event last year where the top 8 looked anything like the prior event, though. So,
true.
Could be interesting to see how things shift. There's just so many decks.
So that leads into my next big question, but let me ask this first. What's a better Night March counter, Oricorio or Karen?
Depends on the deck.
Depends on the deck.
If it plays Toad, Karen?
Not even just that. If it plays something big, like Golisopod, probably is decent with Karen. If you play, or Gardevoir. If you play something big that they have to do a lot to one-shot, then Karen's pretty good against them.
Especially if you're playing like something like Octillery. Like Karen becomes really good when you have something like Octillery, like the Octillery Golisopod deck.
Mm-hmm. And what makes Octillery make that good?
Because like a lot of times... Night March is okay if you sacrifice your turn to play Karen, because they can go for their game plan. Well, if they know you play Karen, their game plan becomes against something like that. They'd go looking for like kill Coco, kill Wimpod, one shot Golisopod, you Karen, double puzzle, one shot Golisopod. If they know you play Karen, but because you have the reach with Octillery, you don't sacrifice your whole turn, like where you need to like get stuff. Your turns don't come as slow. So you actually have reach to do more stuff and can deal with their attackers at all times, plus Karen in the same turn. So it becomes harder for Night March to simply just keep with their straightforward game planning, you like not being able to Karen as much throughout the game.
That makes sense. So my next question is, what can we expect? I want to say as a meta shift as a result of this tournament for Daytona, but at the same time, it feels like the meta is just so open. But despite that, what do you all expect the effect on the meta to be?
I expect less Trev. It didn't do as well as people expected it to do. I guess technically 2 made day 2, but only 1 made top 32. So,
why didn't it do as well?
Well, I think everybody just was ready for it. Like, even Azul and I played Giratina promo in our deck, even though we played Garb. Like, a lot of... And even without it, we could still beat it. So, it wasn't as much like just, hey, we're playing Trevenant, we're going to turn one item like everybody and just win the tournament.
I feel
like it was last year.
Yeah.
Lele also is pretty big because Lele, even testing against it last year, I found like Mewtwo X Ball was pretty good against it despite the weakness, and Lele doesn't have the weakness. So, plus you can get like Hex. Is that a big effect? Do you think?
Like Hex against Trevenant?
Yeah, like Lele for just the presence of Lele, being able to find a supporter, having
Lele
that
is,
attacker.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because if they go turn 1 Trevenant against me, I'm still going to go Lele Bridget and do whatever I want to do, and it doesn't really matter that much. And because of Lele and Bridget, it makes getting Giratina promo so easily. So like, if before, even with Giratina promo, they would go turn 1 Trevenant, and you would have to find it. You wouldn't be able to Ultra Ball for it or anything like that. But because you can just bridge it and throw it onto your bench, it becomes even more impressive for them to deal with. So then they have to sacrifice whether they're going to do, actual damage to your board or set up doing 60s where you just like one-shot them with whatever you have. So it's like they either have to give up the lock to do a little bit of damage or, don't do any damage and then not continue locking you. Hope that you don't do anything. So
Okay.
I think Lele and just Lele in general, adding consistency outside of items plus being able to like bridge it for Giratina promo makes it a lot easier to counter if you want to counter it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So less Trev, what else is going to be different? Do you all think?
It's a very like untested format.
Yeah.
There's just so much left to do. Like if you let if you run 10 events with the current stuff, like eventually I think it'll settle out at something, but who knows what? Like we're nowhere near that.
Yeah.
And just expanded ever is. People like aren't testing it as much, and it changes. It's changed too much recently.
Yeah, 2 sets since the last regional.
Even now, there's like little things that your average or even most players won't realize that like Ross played Stoutland and they got the new Herdier that actually makes it better because he was using computer search 4 or 5 times in a single game, and that actually makes a big difference. Granted, it's still Stoutland, but like there's little things like that people just don't realize and expand it until someone else does it. So
I had no idea what Stoutland did. No idea.
Yeah, I mean, I think Dark will probably still be the biggest. I mean, it was the biggest deck in 4-way. I mean, I think it was played by the most people, and I think it'll still be pretty big just because it's always something people go back to and expand it because it's safe and reasonably accessible list-wise. So.
Yeah.
What about with Night March? What's going to happen with that? Is it going to explode?
No.
I don't think so.
I think if anything, people will tech a little bit more for Night March, but that's it. Like, some other decks might play with Orcorio and Karen. I don't expect to like explode.
Some decks just play it anyways.
Yeah. I don't think like Expanded will ever like settle because by the time it's about to settle, we'll have a new set for a new set. So it'll it's rough. Like we saw. I mean, one of the bigger decks that we didn't see at all, we didn't see at all. I don't know if there was a strong reason for it, but we didn't see any Groudon, I believe, at Fort Wayne at all. I don't think I saw a single one. I don't know if it's just maybe bad now. I've never looked too much into Groudon. But
I think Dead End GX just kills it.
Dead End.
Your last, if they play Malamar, they can just get rid of the Focus Sash thing, and then you just lose the Dark. So that's why I refuse to consider it at all.
Dead End is Necrozma's?
No,
that's a Dark Red GX. The one
Dark
shot
Red.
up there.
Because of Malamar. Okay.
Yeah.
Because you can't use Hypnotoxic.
Right.
I mean, obviously not everybody will play Malamar, but I think enough players will that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the matchup wasn't like that good for you in the first place.
Yeah. I mean, I think it was like slightly favorable, but now it's just dumb.
Okay.
Yeah.
Very interesting. So, are there any other? Well, you said that Expanded, we don't have enough time to sort of develop the meta before it changes.
Yeah.
Is that different than Standard? And if so, is that because of the card pool?
Yeah, it's mostly just how big the card pool is. Like Standard will probably settle after this next event, Connecticut regionals. We'll see what the best decks are going for the next regionals, and then after that, I think we get the new set. I'm not exactly sure, but
okay.
I think we have London as the first set with the new set, right?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
That's kind of tight, but
okay, very cool. So, are there any other thoughts on what's going to change from Expanded? What meta changes you all expect before we move on to Standard?
I still expect a lot of Dark probably more Garb than there was already, and then less Trev.
Yeah.
I think it could be more Glisopod as well, just because people are going to look at it.
Yeah, that's fair.
There was a lot of Glisopod at Fort Wayne.
That's true, for sure.
A lot. Yeah, I think they'll definitely, like, Turbodark will still reign. We might see some more people try Evital, but that's kind of Israel's thing. I don't know if anyone else is going to try and go there. Like, Patrick might go there, but for me personally, I say leave that to Israel. Let him do his thing.
Yeah, let him top 8.
Yeah.
Very cool. All right, then if there's nothing else, let's move on to Standard. Standard is certainly untested at this point. A lot of people, I've seen a lot of people having trouble, and in the last video, we talked about Standard, but there's a consensus that we needed more time to test. So obviously, we still haven't had any big tournaments. We've had some cups. We've seen Gardevoir do well at cups. We've seen Metagross do well at cups. We've seen Ho-Oh Salazzle do well at cups. What do you all think about those decks?
I mean, off the top, Metagross is, I think, probably still very poor. So,
why?
Because Fire is going to be such a staple in the metagame, and I don't even really care if you think you can Necrozma your way out of it. They just Guzma up the Metagross, and you go, oh, well, I lose now.
Okay. Yeah. Is it solely because of Fire, or is the deck just inherently bad?
It's at least mostly because of Fire, but there's definitely some element of I cap at 150 and or discarding all of my energy for the next turn to a format that still has Garbodor. 2 great options. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm not a big fan of. I've never been a big fan of stage 2s, and I'll adamantly speak against them. Where it's like, if you're gonna go Candy Guardy, Curly, Sycamore, then you have a great deck. But when you're just Sycamoring away 2 Guardies because you don't have a Candy in your hand, then you just lose the game. So like, you're adding more variance in a game that already has a lot of variance by just playing a stage 2. So I personally, it's not to say I will not play those decks. If I genuinely think it's the best play, I'll play it. But I will usually stray away from those. Like Volcanion seems all right. I'm not sold on Salazzle either, but I still think just Garbodor seems pretty good.
What partner?
Drampa, probably.
You talking about a Frank list or a Tord list?
I don't know. Probably heavy Potown. I'd probably still play 4 Lele. I don't really know. I don't know if there's like. The problem is like Necromza's still really good, but you don't have Deval anymore, so I don't know if it's actually really good. But I haven't tested Standard a whole lot. I haven't really tested a lot in general, so it's all just kind of off what I would assume. But
so Frank, can we still play Plumeria in Drampa?
Yeah, probably. It's you're gonna want to play extra supporters anyway because you lose VS Seeker, and so you have some extra space. I expect things to be just more and more like a Tord list where it's just 4 ofs of everything and max out on all the good cards.
So let me reword that. If you're playing Drampa, are you putting Plumeria in it?
Yeah, probably. So I don't think I'm gonna play Drampa Garb.
Okay.
So I haven't really put that much thought into it.
Okay. So so Brad likes Drampa Garb, and doesn't like stage 2s. Let's talk about Guardy and Metagross a bit more for Frank and Azul. Do either of you all have thoughts on Guardy and Drampa? Is Guardy best deck in format?
I think so, or close. Volcanion might be a little bit overall better. Guardy being a stage 2. Guardy really doesn't have any horrible matchups. Metagross is a horrible matchup, but I think Metagross is literally a deck you only play to beat Guardy, so it's not a good deck. It's a deck you play to beat a deck. It's like I don't think Guardy has a bad matchup besides Metagross, except for that's it.
Or
Glisopod. I think Glisopod's probably close. And then Volcanion's a close matchup as well for Guardy, but I think it's overall like the better deck. Your Garb matchups are still close depending on what version of the Garb deck it is. I don't like Metagross. I would only ever consider Metagross if it was for a League Cup and I knew 20 out of 30 people there are playing Guardy. It's the only.
Okay.
That's like the only way I'd ever
The
consider.
other 10 aren't playing Volcanion.
And the other 10 are not playing Volcanion.
Okay,
So-
and you said Volcanion's very good. What does Volcanion look like? Is that 2 Turtonator, 3 Volcanion like we were seeing before, or are we talking Ho-Oh in there as well? And what does that look like?
I haven't put too much time into Volcanion yet. I would definitely start with Yoneda's list, his Ho-Oh Salazzle. If you're going to play a fire deck in general, I would just start with Yoneda's list and see how I feel about that. But if Salazzle is not as consistent as you would hope, and it doesn't really get there all the time, because like when I was testing Volcanion prior to Worlds, you would draw, like he figured out the fix for it, because like I would draw 4 prizes really fast, and then I would get end to 2 or 1, and I was like tested a Rankaroo and stuff to try and help fix that. But I think Salazzle was definitely the fix, but it's just how consistent is Salazzle for that fix in those spots. But if it's not as consistent as you want it, then you should probably go back to something like a Starmie, Volcanion, 2 Turtonator. I think you either do heavy Ho-Oh or you do 2 Turtonator. 2 Turtonator is like really good right now, for sure.
Frank, what do you think about Guardian Metagross?
I think if you get into meta with a lot of Guardy and a lot of Garb, I think it is going to do better against Garb, especially now that it doesn't have the VS Seekers. The HP will really, I think, get it out of range. And so if you get a metagame that's really centered in around those few decks, it could be okay. But it's always going to take the loss to fire decks, and so maybe it's just not going to be good. I think Volcanion's really good. I don't know whether or not it's better than Guardy, right? So Guardy versus Volcanion is a weird matchup. I don't know who comes out on top on that one.
Okay. So Brad, was that claim Drampa Garb is the best deck, that you believe Drampa Garb is the best deck right now?
No, but I think it's my choice for what I like. If I had to pick a deck to play immediately, I'd probably just play that.
Okay.
Just because I would not want to play Guardy, but
And
I think Guardy is going to be the most played / best performing deck.
Okay, so if Guardy, so you do think Guardy is the best, and that
Most likely.
Drampa Garb is your play. Why are those not aligned?
I don't like stage 2s.
Okay.
I don't want to. Yeah.
Especially for a
play
cup, I assume.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't want to play
Imagine-
a stage 2 unless I have to.
Stage 2 mirror is it better yet?
Yeah, exactly. That's like the biggest thing too. It's like that's like the biggest thing that's holding me back from even playing Volcanion is the mirror. So.
Okay, so if you take Drampa Garb to a cup, you're going to have to play against Gardevoir.
Yeah.
How do you beat that? Is it Potown? Is that going to push it over the edge?
Yeah, Potown, watch them with candies and hope they misplay.
All right.
That's at least that's what that's like my game plan for cups in general. Like I played Mega Gardevoir and won 3 cups with it last year, and I don't think Mega Guardy is a good deck at all. I think that deck is pretty bad, honestly, but I still won 3 cups with it because.
Why did you win 3 cups with it?
Because I knew that I could just beat people with it. So I knew people were going to start. It was like right when the new set dropped. I knew everybody was going to be trying to play Garbodor. So I was like, I can just play Mallow and beat them. So I did that. I knew what like everybody in my area is going to try to play. So it makes it a lot easier.
Okay.
So I will just like for cups, my thought process is a lot different than for like a regionals. Because for a cup, I have like John Kettler in my area. I'm always, for the most part, I've been able to call like exactly what he's going to play at every tournament. Even when he was only playing Decidueye, I called him switching to Yveltal for one tournament. And so as long as I'm able to counter that and then play something consistent enough that I can beat pretty much anybody else with, I'm fine.
Okay.
So like even when I won a cup before with Mega Gardevoir, I was like, I won with Mega Guardy. I knew people were just going to switch to like Mega Ray just to beat me because this was before Pseudo Widow was out. So I just switched to, or they were going to play my Mega Guardy list because I posted it. So I switched to Darkrai Giratina and then just said Chaos Wheel a bunch and won. So
Sounds good.
That's like, yeah, that's why cups are a lot different than regionals too. So
Christopher, what's the best deck? Is it Guardy?
I mean, honestly, in Standard, my testing so far has consisted of whatever various fire lists my brother bothered putting on TCGO. So, Guardy seems pretty good. So far, the only thing I've beaten it with random fire stuff, but games that are close, and I don't think I'm positive against it. So, sure, Guardy could be good, which means people will be tempted to do things like play Metagross. So, what a great metagame. But
Yeah. So if you're going to a cup tomorrow, what are you taking?
I mean, I am going to a cup on Saturday or Sunday. Well, I guess it's Sunday actually. So I have not yet figured that out. But I don't know. I hesitate to say Garbodor and without VS Seeker, but maybe something Garbodor. I don't know.
Okay. Does I forgot what I was going to ask. Okay.
I want to play Ninetales, but I'm scared of the collateral damage from Metagross
Right.
because of Guardian. So
Okay. And Azul, what do you think if you had to go to a cup tomorrow or Saturday? What would you play?
Greninja.
Greninja. So Greninja's working.
It's really good right now.
Is it more consistent somehow?
It's just about the same. It's about the same.
Maybe it's about the same. And everything else is slower.
It didn't get less consistent. The only thing that you lost was like you don't have as many like you lost your ace trainers, but everyone else lost their VS Seekers, so their first supporter. Like what happens just a lot in this format is you'll play like your first two supporters, and then you just won't find a supporter, or someone will have Garb up, so you can't use your Lele for a supporter. So you'll sit there with like a hand of Guzmas or something, and you have to like play through that, and like so it's like a lot of people run into like Ninja hands without Ninja. So then Ninja just has their Ninja hands still, but everyone else does too. And plus, like the top three decks in the or the top two decks plus the counter deck of Metagross, Greninja just like bodies all of them. So
okay,
it's like I think Greninja's really good. The only thing is you can't really like if you win your first cup on Saturday with it, you can't play it Sunday because people have Tina Promo in their deck, and you can't beat Tina Promo. So you can play it once.
It plays Dive Ball.
Dive Ball rotated.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh,
so
okay, yeah.
You said it lost Ace Trainer, but is Dive Ball not a big deal?
Yeah, you did, but you just since you lost Silent Lab, your stadium automatically becomes Brooklet Hill, which finds your Froakies, and then you just switch over to Evo Soda, which then finds your Frogadier.
Very good.
You can also run Timer Ball if you want to go heavier on the items.
So Frank, what's your pick?
Does that count too?
I think I'd play Volcanion. That's the only thing I've been playing recently. Not that I've been playing a lot or really trying a lot of the stuff, but it's just what I've been playing recently.
Is that does that involve Ho-Oh and Salazzle or just Turtonator?
Not the Salazzle and the Ho-Oh. I don't like that stuff.
I don't like Ho-Oh in it. I think I have to put it as a separate deck if I'm going to try those. It's like a Ho-Oh focus, I think, if you're going to do it. Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know. I would just be doing the Volcanion version. I think you're better off.
Okay. So what do you all expect for Hartford? What do you expect to show up to be played?
Gardevoir.
Yeah, Gardevoir, Volcanion, Metagross. I still expect Golisopod. That's why I don't want to play Greninja at a cup. I don't want to lose to that either. But I do expect to see Greninja at regionals too, though, and then Garb. I don't know. I don't think there's that much variance in standard right now. There's not or too much variety, I guess.
Okay. So, is there a? Well, then let me ask you about some French decks. Then, see what your opinions are on these. Since there's not a lot of variance. Start with some of my favorite. We'll just do my favorites because my favorites are the French decks. So, Necrozma, Coco, Garb, the beautiful spread deck.
I actually think it might be the better version of Garb decks. Necrozma is actually depends how the game plays out, but it's like against Guardian, Necrozma is generally better. It depends how good the Guardy player is. Actually, that's the main thing. Because if you play Drampicarb, one of your main strategies is to literally sit there and go Guzma, take away your DCE 50. Guzma, take away your DCE 50 with that's just Righteous Edge Choice Band. But if they're playing around that and they're smart and they hold their DCs back, and it's not as good. But if they sit there and they set up 3 Guardies, you go across them, you do 100 to all of them. That's pretty good. Mm-hmm. And then you probably play Espeon too, so then you can pop them back into their hand. And so that once again comes to how good they are, and if they know you're playing Necrozma or if they evolve too much, and then you put down Necrozma later. Yeah, I'm not sure if it's better than Drampa Garb. But I think it's definitely good. It's also obviously really good against like Volcanion because they always have to put a bunch of GXs and EXs in play, and you get all that damage in play, and you just have to clean up from there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's good for sure.
Cool.
I'm not sure you have to choose between Drampa and those guys.
Yeah, you could also play both.
So Frank, if you're playing that, what's your split?
Garb? I would do 2 Garb.
Okay, that's what I'm doing too. But what about Necrozma and Drampa split?
3 Drampa, 1 Necrozma.
Okay.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think you really need more than 1 Necrozma. I don't think you. I guess the first attack really isn't bad, but like you don't care that much. And then,
you use its first attack if you Black Ray and it doesn't die. Then you're like, oh, cool! I get to use the first attack too. Cool. Because I mean, you do 100, and then choice band plus 1 psychic discard is 90, so you usually kill a GX off it.
Yeah.
It's 100 because it's 10 plus 60.
Oh yeah, I always forget about the 10 plus. I played the card too, and I just forget it's 10 plus.
I never said anything but dead end. So
dead end? You mean Black Ray?
Sure. Dead end. Yeah. Well, there you go. So I just flipped my little Aaron Curry.
Exactly. I don't name attacks. I don't know what half of them are. More than half, actually. Okay, then
I still say Stellar Guidance. So
perfect. Next one. Bulu Vikavolt, or just Vikavolt. We saw some Vikavolt success with like a one of Bulu. I know Bradley likes it because it's stage 2.
And Bulu.
And 2 of them, right? You got 2 different stage 2s in the same deck, even though it's the same line. So it makes it even better. What do you guys think about Bulu Vikavolt?
I've always hated it, and this has not changed. So
why not just play Guardian if you want to play a stage 2?
Right.
I think it definitely got better. Like its matchups just got way better, and then like I don't know. Yeah, your matchups overall just got better. But like I think Guardy's like a really awkward matchup because you have to like Coco spread into Choice Banded Bulu, but then you have to commit to like heavy Choice Band over Fighting Fury Belt. But like you want Fighting Fury Belt for your Volcanion matchup. Yeah, I don't know. Like I think that definitely got better. Its matchups got better. But like it's still an awkward deck, kind of. So yeah.
Am I wrong that Gardevoir beats Bulu because of if they're playing the Diancie that can spread heal?
I mean, usually you'll tap with a Bulu and then go Coco. Like you go 110. So it comes down if they play Max Potion or if they hit their Ace Arolos more. But even if they do that, they reset their Guardy. But they can't one-shot a Bulu on a resetted Guardy. So then you get to go 110 again. But then you're just going to start to run out of energy as Bulu. So there's like a lot of just like it's if you when you hit your resources in that matchup, and if you play like Max Potions or something.
Okay. Why is John Roberts so successful with the list? Is it just his
God?
Israel's got Yveltal and John Roberts has Bulu? Is that what this is?
John Roberts literally has God on his side.
Sounds great. All right, next deck, Xerneas Break. I'm gonna put out a list for this, and since I know you guys all watch all of my videos, you saw my list. I do. I put it with Garbodor, just the ability lock, and you can use EXP shares and Fairy Gardens. You don't have to use Floatstones at all. So obviously it's the best deck in format, but what do you guys think about it?
I think Pika will like.
It's legal.
You think what?
I didn't even know it was legal.
It was
I mean, Yveltal never rotates, but Xerneas doesn't either.
Yeah,
True.
I think together. Except I don't think we have Xerneas EX anymore. I got cut that guy.
I guess yeah. Did Yveltal EX finally
I
rotate?
think we still do.
We
Actually,
do.
Do
we
we?
printed it with
shiny.
stupid.
Yeah, I got the little
that
bacon
one.
dude.
Right.
No?
Yeah.
Oh, so we have Xerneas EX though. Cool.
Yeah. As long as we have Yveltal, we have Xerneas, but you know, it's always overshadowed.
I think that could be good. I don't know if you need the ability lock Garb, because I mean, I guess for Guardy it's useful, but like you have to get so much to be able to one-shot them. You're probably entering a 2-shot war anyways, and you don't care if they commit too much energy to their dude because they're just drawing 1 prize and you're trying.
You can always just swing with Lele too.
Yeah, you can always swing with Lele. I guess it's good against Bulu, but there's like so much that you need with that deck. It's going to be hard to get like a turn 2 Garb as well to get everything else. I feel like so that's like a struggle. I don't hate the deck though. I was actually putting some thought into it the other day. I was like, it could be good. It just depends what the rest of the meta looks like. Because Volcanion doesn't seem like a good matchup.
With Garbodor, it's pretty good.
So with Garbodor it could be pretty good. But also they could just go turn with Kiawe on a Turtonator and start one-shotting everything immediately.
Yeah,
there's that.
So,
or even
I expect most Garbodors will still play, or most if you play like 2 Turtonator and your Volcanion, you should be playing Kiawe still. So that seems rough, but I don't know. It could be good. Metagross is probably a bad matchup, but I wouldn't worry about that. So I think it really comes down to your Guardy matchup. If you can beat Guardy with it, I think it could be good.
Okay. What about? I would say Solgaleo, but I already know the answer, so we'll skip that one. We mentioned briefly Ninetales. I think Ninetales is quite strong right now. Thoughts on that?
I think it seems really good, but I'm not 100% sold on it yet. I just hate that it's so reactive to where like you have to. What you do is strictly based on what your opponent did the previous turn. You can't really preemptively do anything. So I mean, you just like put 50 everywhere you want to, or start spreading 20s on stuff, and then you can start one-shotting things. But also the lack of VS Seeker to make Kukui worse seems awkward. But and then even though you have the other Ninetales to block GXs and EXs, most decks have a way around it just already. So
yeah.
That's actually one of the big selling points for me is the non-GX Ninetales. So Hex is out of every deck. For Guardy, they struggle to set up a 3 of things, and they'll always go for 2 Guardies first. And even if they don't, you don't care. So they have to go for 2 Guardies, and then you go, okay, I'm going to use my non-GX Ninetales. And they have to be able to go Ralts into their Gallade to actually kill it. So if they can't, like if they just go 2 Guardies, and you're just like, I'm going to kill your Ralts this turn, and then you like end them and go with your non-GX dude and just start hitting him with it, they can't really do anything about it. Because like Guardy can usually get up 2 Guardies well, but it's hard for them to get the 3rd Guardy or Gallade, whatever they want out. So it's like super good in that matchup. And then it's just like no one has Hex. So I mean, most decks do have a way around it, but like late game, you just end someone low and then set it out there and just start swinging with it. Like, sometimes they just can't deal with it.
Oranger technically one-shots the Aurora Beam. So that was the thing we were coming across when I was watching it being tested was they never stick very long on the board. But yeah.
Okay. What about Espeon Garb? Is it dead in standard?
I mean, it's not dead, but I don't know.
People will play it. I don't know that I would.
I think it's went from being the better version to the inferior version of Garb now, though. So it'll still be played, but I just don't think it's as good.
The big selling point was its Strampa Garb matchup, and now it doesn't seem like that's going to be as popular.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you had access to like the Flareon, Jolteon, whatever you wanted to, which you no longer do. So those like the biggest things it had going for it just doesn't anymore.
Does it lose?
I think the biggest
Go ahead.
The biggest thing I had going for it was Flareon because the Decidueye was good, but Decidueye's bad now. I think you lost to Trampa Garb as soon as Acerola was printed. Like I think you didn't lose to it, but whatever deck played Acerola in it won that matchup. So like if you played Espeon Garb with Acerola against a Trampa Garb that didn't play Acerola, you should win. But if they played Acerola and Espeon Garb usually doesn't play Acerola, you should lose. Just no Decidueye, and then I mean Flareon's rotated, so like it kind of matched up well. Flareon rotated, and then we got rid of Forest, so there's no Decidueye anyways. So
what's the Gardevoir matchup like for it? Xander swears it's positive, but I can't figure it out.
I mean,
actually, it is.
Yeah,
like
I think it's
we
positive.
We were
Okay,
like,
oh,
cool, you know.
They also lost Wander Energy, which is huge.
Yeah,
they can't do their janky hit you for 90 with 1 energy with a Wander, and then now you just confuse them, and they're like, oh, now they have to deal with that.
So before though, like we thought the same thing. It was like, oh, Guardy just beats it. You'll never be able to beat it. But then we actually played the matchup. Granted, Azul was the Guardy pilot, so it's kind of skewed. But you would just like you'd be able to attack turn 1. You either like Lele for 40, Espeon for 30. You do something turn.
Another hurricane coming through?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought it was me. I thought it was my side. Okay.
No.
I wondered for a minute too, but wow.
So Azul, why don't you tell us about those testing results? Why does?
Yeah, so I mean, you just poke stuff, and actually Divide GX is like super good. You pop a Ralts, and then you pop off Killer Ralt, set up a Curlia, or just set up like they usually try and go aggressive with a Lele with a DC at some point because they don't want to like sacrifice their only Guardy, like send that only thing up. So you just put 2 on a Lele, and then they can't swing with their Lele unless they want to lose it. So you just kind of poke with stuff, and then of course Saibi becomes way better against the deck because before they would just go Choice Band Wonder and then hit you for 90, and then you can't really do anything against it because if you commit energy, you don't really damage them, and then they'll just put another energy down or a DC or whatever, and then kill you. But now they can't do that. The Wonder Energy shenanigans. So I think it's definitely more favored for Espeon. I think it was like slightly favored for Espeon, but now it's like definitely favored.
Welcome, Mr. President. So what was the next one? Oh, Zoroark Drampa. Seems like it has some potential. Am I off on that? What do you guys think? Oh boy. Everyone's moved
back?
around. He's coming back. All right, welcome back. Azul, finish your sentences for you.
Is he back?
No.
Are you back, Brad?
All right, we're just going to keep going. So, Zoroark Drampa, thoughts on that?
If you can figure out the Guardian matchup, I think.
Exactly that. I never really liked it as a deck to begin with. I don't think it's any better now. So.
What about if you play a 2/2 line of that thing that doesn't one-shot it with a choice band, whatever it's called? Bisharp.
Oh, Bisharp.
You didn't sell it very well.
No, I
You
didn't.
could.
But you can
Does
play.
it not one-shot it?
No.
How much
No
did you-
resistance.
Oh my god.
No, it's got resistance too.
That's so troll.
But you can play.
You can like Cocoa Spread set it up, I guess.
Yeah.
So that's probably enough. But what does your deck become then? You have Zoroark with a 2/2 line of Bisharp that only helps in one matchup. That's the thing. Like Guardy's not going to be at a regional. It's not worth it. At a League Cup, maybe. But I don't think at a regional it's ever worth it to play. Like someone actually did the 2/2 Bisharp. They were playing Bisharp Yveltal, I think, at one regional to beat Rainbow Road and Mega Guardy. But there's too many decks. I know, and I even sat next to them. I watched them smack a Mega Guardy. But they didn't even make it was Fort Wayne. They didn't even make day 2 because there's too many decks, and you're never going to play against as much of a deck as you think you are usually.
Yeah.
Sometimes you do. Like
I
Chris
think
played against.
This is Dalen and Xander.
How many Turbo Dark did you play?
6.
6. So yeah, you played 6. I
Awesome.
played. I wish I had played against 6. I played against 2. I would have liked to play against a couple more. So sometimes it does happen like that, but that's I feel like that's a rare occurrence.
Oh, for sure.
So it's not worth. Usually, it's just not worth the tech of that many. If it's one spot for like one deck, even if it's just one deck, you're sure you'll play against just once. If it's one spot for like an auto win, I think that's worth personally, because you might hit it again in day 2.
Right.
But if it's like 4 spots for literally one matchup, unless that matchup, and I don't think Guardy's that good. Guardy's like not on the level of it. Like you're for sure gonna hit 2 Guardy, probably more around day 1. The deck's not quite there.
Okay.
Further testing might show different. Like the deck might actually be there, but I don't think it is. I don't think it'll get there.
Okay. The last deck I wanted to talk about that I could think of, unless you guys have something else, is Galissapod. What are your thoughts on the pod?
People definitely play it, if nothing else.
People play.
That good?
I mean, it could be good because it'll beat Greninja. The Metagross matchup just seems bizarre. Obviously, it will never beat Fire. Gardevoir could be close. I don't know. I haven't tested it. It seems weird.
Yeah, I think it's good. I don't know if it's good enough to like beat everything good, but I think it's decent.
Okay.
It's worth considering, I guess.
So, my team and I don't have a team. My team and I are getting ready to test for regionals. What, 4 or 5 decks do we need to sleeve up to play against each other? Or what 4 or 5 decks do we need to test our rogue decks against?
Guardy, Volcanion, Trampa Garb. Trampa Garb, or like if another Garb deck is the best Garb deck. Maybe the second best Garb deck too. It depends how popular that would be. It's probably just the best Garb deck, Volcanion, Guardy, and probably Galissapod. Galissapod will probably be one of the more popular decks, even if it's not one of the better decks. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Like, you don't need to test against decks like Metagross and stuff because they won't won't come out in numbers. Yeah, maybe Greninja too. Yeah. But Greninja match, like the thing about Greninja though is like you can pretty much theory the matchup in your head almost every time for like any matchup against Greninja, and you'll know if you're gonna win or lose. It's usually not that hard to figure out if you're gonna beat or lose to Greninja.
Okay.
And then you can always just beat it because they're Greninja. So you always give yourself like if you think of it as like, oh, it's like I probably win like 10% of the time they just set up and I lose. You give yourself like plus 20% on that. Yeah.
All right. Anybody else? Other decks that you need to test against?
Pretty much the authoritative list, I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Any other thoughts before we go around and give shout outs? Okay, I think Brad is here, so let's start with him before that changes.
I think I'm good.
All right. Christopher.
No.
Oh, I thought you meant you were good, as in you didn't need to do any shout. I thought you had no shout
on here?
Brad, go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to, obviously, someone's PC. So, check out someone's PC. Easy.
I thought you were just giving someone's PC the cold shoulder there when you said, all right, I'm good. I was like, all right. Christopher, go ahead.
I run sixprizes.com. Check it out, I guess. Yeah, it's the thing.
Frank.
Shout out to my mom and Jesus.
Great. Same. Azul.
Shout out to my team, TCG Castle, and our sponsor, TC Evolutions, tcevolutions.com. Also, check out my stream, twitch.tv/itsazul. I'm going to be trying to stream every day besides some weekend days when tournaments are leading up to Connecticut. I've been streaming the last 2 or 3 days, just working on new standard. It's weird. The format feels weird. But yeah, thanks.
What time?
Usually between 5 and 6. Eastern PM.
5 and 6 is when you start, or for
when
that
I start.
hour? Okay.
When I start, sometime between 5. It depends how my work goes. I try to start between 5 and 6, and I usually stream for 3 to 5 hours.
All right. Very good. Like and subscribe, and thank you guys for your time.